Up until a couple years ago, I was not a morning person. And now, I still don't like waking up to an alarm clock, but if I wake up early, like 6:30, I'm okay with it. I love being able to enjoy this time of morning, quiet house, nobody else is up, because it won't stay that way for long. So I learned a long time ago that in order to get things done, I have ADHD, and in order to get things done in my life, I have to create habits. Maybe those of you without ADHD do the same thing. I don't know, but I find the best time of day to get things done in a habitual manner is in the morning. If I start out the same way every day, then that carries me through the rest of the day. So I start with my matcha latte, and then my big goal, if I wake up early enough, which I usually do, is to get some writing on the book done before Noah wakes up, and then I feel like I've got a jump start on the day. So I do a little writing, he wakes up, he gets ready, take him to school, come home, have my oatmeal, just about every day, except for weekends. This is a weekday habit thing. I do give myself the weekends off. Well, not off, but they're different. And then after my oatmeal, I do the rest of my writing for the book, and then I work out. And by that time, two of the main things, the priorities in my daily life are done. Writing the book, as of right now, and my workout. And then after that, I'm free to fill in the rest of the day as needed. So whether it's writing for the channel, filming for the channel, editing, playtime, whatever. So before the book, this was my office/art studio. Now it is my writing cave. And I'm happy to report that as of next Friday, that's my deadline, May 17th is my deadline for half of the book to be completed. And I'm exactly on track. I've got, 5 days left? 6 days, weekdays left, and I've got 6 more spreads for the book. Now, if you don't know, because I didn't know, a spread is when the book is open, it's 2 pages. So basically, I've got, 5 more spreads, 6 more spreads, so 10 to 12 pages left. So just doing 1 spread a day, which I have been trying to keep up with, will get me to that goal. So I'm not writing the book exactly in order, but most of the front of the book is done. This is my table of contents, and all of the green are done. So basically the first 5 chapters of the book are just about finished. Then it goes to the editor, and then they do what they do, and there's a whole team of people involved in a book. I had no idea. Illustrators, photographers, designers, the editor. There's 2 different types of editors. So anyway, I'm gonna get to writing today's spread, and then I will do my workout, and I'll catch up with you out in the front yard. Today, we're gonna be planting lavender. So if you don't know how to plant lavender or would like some, I'm going over that. Artichokes, let's stick maybe a Mediterranean theme. Artichokes, lavender, we'll see what else we can do. I have some cleanup to do and some mulching, so I'll see you out there. So today there's several things to focus on. Number 1 is I have a new lavender plant for the bed behind me, which this is going to be turning into one of the edible landscape beds. So let me go show you what I've done the last couple days and then what we have left to do today. So I was able to weed out this rose bed. Let me back up here a little bit. I left the forget-me-nots. However, I will probably end up taking those out. But right now the bees are loving them, and I'm waiting for them to drop some of their seed pods so that they'll come back again next year. Although that's not a huge deal because I've got a lot out around the other side of the house too that I can just transplant. So anyway, I put in the drip lines yesterday, And they came on this morning, and I can see that there was actually really good coverage. The ground is thoroughly moistened. Okay, so this is the plan for this side of the driveway. And I'm switching it from 4 lavenders to 3 because I just think 4 is going to be too much. We've got one here, which needs to be cut back. One over here in this corner that's doing well. And then a third one I'm going to be planting today. I think if I put 4 in here, I'm not going to have room for the eggplant up front like I wanted. And it's just going to be too crowded. So 1 lavender, we'll get planting on that right now. So like I said, this is Spanish lavender. And I don't talk zones on this channel a lot because usually we're talking about vegetables, which are annuals. But lavender is perennial in zones 7 through 9. And yet a lot of people have problems growing lavender. And it's usually not because of the climate. It's usually because of the soil and improper drainage. Lavender need really good drainage, like almost desert conditions. They don't want a lot of soil amendment. So if you have a sandy soil, they're gonna do really, really well. We do have a good amount of sandy loam here, so they really like our soil. So if you do not have that type of soil, you can bury gravel or sand, mix it in underneath where you're planting it to give some extra drainage, and also mix it into the backfill that you're putting back into the hole. Another solution would be to mound the soil up and plant them just a little bit higher than ground level so that rainwater can just kind of run off. They also do really well in containers. I'm going to take out some of these forget-me-nots that are in the way. And move this strip line and be careful not to hit these two. So we don't need any fertilizer in the hole. I'm not putting any type of compost or anything. That's how they like it. They also like full sun, which right now this looks shaded, but it's only because I'm filming. So I'm gonna slide it out of the pot. It is a little heavy in roots. It could be a little bit root bound, not too bad. So I'm just gonna tease some of these roots out a little bit. Breaking the roots in this way actually stimulates the plant to grow more roots. So it's not a bad thing at all. Now, unless you're actually purposefully planting it a little bit high in the hole, you generally always want to make sure that the top of the soil level in your garden is the top of the pot level, or where the plant's already growing from. And then we're just going to backfill. You probably can't tell, but there is a good amount of grit and sand in this already. But again, you can supplement if you don't have good drainage in your soil. I'm pretty much massacring all of these forget-me-nots, so I'm probably going to go ahead and take them out anyway, which will be much easier than mulching around them. So now you can see that these drip lines are just kind of laying in here all floppy and haphazard. So I'm gonna make some landscape staples. This is a 16 gauge wire. 18, 20 gauge might be better, but this is the heaviest that the hardware store near us had, so I didn't have to drive to Home Depot, so I'm gonna make it work. So just cut off a piece, maybe 6 to 8 inches long, bend it over, and just use it to secure the line right into the ground. So I made the executive decision to take out the forget-me-nots because it was just going to be way too much trouble to get these drip lines placed and then mulch with them in there. So I'm really glad I did, though, because I got to show you what I found. Now, I've tried unsuccessfully a couple of times trying to grow lavender from seed. Never had success. And then look what happened. Underneath the forget-me-nots are all kinds of baby lavender coming up. Volunteer. So I don't want to leave them here because we're doing more edibles in this bed now. So I think I'm going to dig them up, probably kill them, and grow them in a pot for a little bit until they get a little larger, hopefully, and then maybe put them somewhere else. And normally I would say don't use garden soil in pots. However, if you noticed, I filled half of it with raised bed mix. So give it some drainage, plus these are already used to growing in this soil. So they should be okay for a while. All right, I'm gonna go water them and I'll be right back. All right, now that I've got all the baby plants out of there, and I've stapled down all of the drip lines so they're laying flat and where they're supposed to be, I'm actually gonna start mulching now. And I think it's easier to mulch before you plant small plants rather than trying to maneuver the mulch around them once they're already in place. I actually made my own mulch, wood chip mulch. You can see it right back there. When I cut this hedge back a few weeks ago, I had lots of material and I thought, well, rather than throwing it away or letting the city recycle it, why not finally invest in something I've wanted for decades, which was a shredder. And so I finally did it and I could not be happier. This is a Great Circle shredder. Now they're not sponsoring this video in any way. I had to pay full price. However, I was super, super impressed. So far, this thing is an absolute beast. It'll take branches up to 3 inches in diameter, and it's also got a hopper for, loose twigs and things, or leaves. And it also has an attachment, which I didn't get, that you can like hook a hose on there and vacuum up leaves and have them shredded. We don't really have a lot of fall leaves here, so that wasn't something I was interested in. But I'll put a link down below if you want to check it out. It got great reviews, and so far, it's getting a great review from me. So the next thing I have to plant on the planting list are some artichokes. Now I need 4 of these guys, and they're gonna go one over here, between basically 4 of them between the roses. Right between the roses and just set back a little bit. And I'll just clear away the mulch. There's a drip tube right there. You got to put a handful of Neptune's Harvest kelp meal and crab and lobster. Give them a good head start. Good root system. And just like before, we want to make sure that we plant this at the same level that it was growing in the pot or in the cup. Just replace. See, that's a lot easier than having to worry about putting the mulch down while these are in. All right, I've got the 4 artichokes in, and my only issue here is the further back in this bed that you go, the more shade. It's about a half a day of sun and a half a day of shade. So we'll see how these do. So I'm consulting my drawing here to see what else I have ready to plant. And the eggplant I could probably go ahead and plant today. My beets and my scarlet kale are still seedlings, And the pink chard I just got in the mail, so I've got to sow those seeds. I feel like I'm so far behind. This is like the most behind I've ever been, I think, in a gardening year. In my climate, I can plant way earlier than probably most of you watching. And I try to push it a little bit so that I'm not rushing things, because I don't want you guys to feel like you're behind, and I don't want you rushing things. So I try to straddle the earlier and the later planting climates. Well, this year, I think I'm probably right there with you when you still have snow on the ground. Some of my things haven't even been sowed yet. So, but I do have a lot going on. So I'm going to give myself some credit. Hopefully you guys don't hold it against me too much. So let's go ahead and plant our eggplant seedlings out here, and then I'm going to call it a day in this part of the yard. So I've got 6 eggplant, and they're going to go right behind the boxwood between the lavender. So I'm going to put 3 between each lavender plant. With the Jiffy pellets, they have this netting on the outside. Now, it's not required that you take it off, and if the roots are really growing through it, I would just leave it, but these aren't too bad. So I'm going to remove it, because even though these are supposedly biodegradable, they take longer than 1 season. So I would rather, if possible, just put these in the ground like this. So I got the eggplant planted, everything watered, and now I'm going to spend the rest of today taking this pile and turning it into mulch with my shredder, because when I'm going to be planting over here, I'm going to need some mulch. Hopefully I'll have enough.